Namaskaram and hello, it's Arjun or Justin. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Ganesh helped me make a good video today. I was actually going to make a video more about, I was going to talk about psychopharmaceuticals a bit, and I've already indicated my opinions about them or hinted at them. And I was going to go more into that and advise people don't just stop what they're on and doing. You have to have supports in place if you're going to stop, and usually you have to taper. And then there's things that you have to know about, to expect when stopping. And every medication, even though there'll be similar ways or methods of stopping, tapering off, and side effects like withdrawal effects, nonetheless, you want to make sure that you're doing that safely. So I'll talk about that probably tomorrow, but again, that was a tangential sidebar by Arjun, classic Arjun. I am actually going to talk about abandonment, because I actually saw a video that someone posted. It was a clip from Cobra Kai, which is a cheesy but really good show. I'm actually a big fan, and it was, it's about Johnny's breakdown with John Kreese, his former karate instructor and mentor that really effed him over when he was a kid. Again, this is from Karate Kid movies, right? So it's not real, but he has a breakdown, a confrontation, like all these years later, like decades later, and he's breaking down and he's explaining, like, you abandoned me, you hurt me, and that he was saying, like, you don't know what all those years were like. And that really spoke to me. Like, that, I think a lot of people, we struggle with abandonment, in so many different ways. So we have to be cognizant of many factors when it comes to feeling abandoned. So first of all, I will say that it's a shitty thing to feel abandoned, especially when you're at your lowest and you feel like, this wasn't of my own design. Like, all the crap that is happening to me in my life, it was not of my doing or design. Now, as Hindus, we kind of have our thoughts about, I guess, that. And, there's karma, right? And sometimes, even if it's external, if it feels purely external, if someone's choosing to do wrong to you, then that's negative karma that they're creating. And maybe it has very little, loosely, to do with your own karma, but you are still being taught a lesson of how to detach when people decide to be POSs and do crappy things to you. I mean, that's a very simplified explanation, and others might have thoughts about that. So I'd be curious to hear. But whatever the case, right? We can't control what other people do. And we really have to be cognizant that if we have entrusted somebody with our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health, and then they decide to go be a POS and betray us, and I'll speak from an adult's perspective first, they cheat on you, they lie, omit, alter the facts. I've spoken on this before. And then they abandon you. They just drop you like you're dead weight or trash. And that's what Johnny also said, like being treated like trash and abandoned. And I've spoken on that, haven't I? If you've watched my videos. And that is so hard to experience because you've entrusted this, given your loyalty, your love, your respect, and you've joined in union with this person of some sorts. And when they decide to F you over, and especially if they decide to leave you for somebody else, um, or a better opportunity, the grass is greener, or dump, they project and dump all their problems onto you. You're the source of all their stress, all their heartache, all their headaches, right? And then treat you like garbage that needs to be disposed of, a tumor that needs to be excised, a disease that needs to be eradicated. That adds huge insult to injury. But you've attached yourself to this person and that that connection, right? That union. So, and I'm not saying like, oh, shame on you. You effed up big time because you went and got involved with somebody, whether you thought they were your best friend, like family, a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever. And so, it's hard, right? Because we're social creatures and we want to have those interpersonal connections. And I'm not saying that you should avoid any deep connections, but there is a fine balance between getting involved with somebody, but knowing you have, a friend's dad once told me, he's just such a jolly guy. Doesn't matter what life is throwing at him, and it's actually quite impressive. But he once said, I'm never dissatisfied and disappointed with people. You want to know why? I was like, why? He said, because I just expect that we're going to disappoint each other. And with that acceptance, it's like, okay. It's easier said than done. I think he just has this natural disposition like that, but it's easier said than done. And, it's something that we need to practice, though. Like, you are going to be disappointed by other people at some point, and you're going to disappoint them. It's just going to happen. And knowing that might help prepare you for the eventuality of disappointment, of heartbreak, of headaches, of stress. So that's one thing that we should have a mindset going into, that it's not going to always turn out to be sunshine, rainbow, and roses, and the grass isn't always going to be greener, that sometimes we're going to get effed over. It's unfortunate, and you wish that people, especially ones that you thought you shared a bond with, and especially if you felt like this person was, like the love of your life, or, your best friend, you know, it, you don't want that to happen. You don't want to hurt them, and you don't want to get hurt by them. So that's one thing. And then leading into, if it's so bad that it leads to feeling like they've abandoned you, which I'm not saying like, when I say you feel like, I'm not saying like it did or didn't happen. But if someone does abandon you, right, they just say, I'm done, adios, they ghost you, they stonewall you, they block you, they treat you like worse than garbage, then friend, I got something to tell you, all right? It's not, and I've said it before, it ain't pretty. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a jagged pill to swallow. But that person, doesn't matter who they were in the past. Remember, do not mix up potential with reality, what's actually going on. All right? They may have been nice and lovey-dovey and, just dedicated to you in the connection in the past. And now, though, that's not the case. That's not the case now. All right. They are deciding to, for whatever reason, abandon you and treat you like trash. And you have to recognize this is not what a loving, respectful, decent human being should be doing to another human being, especially if you didn't do anything that was like, you're not, physically abusing them and stealing money from them and causing all this, like huge trouble for them, like getting cops involved, at their house. And if you guys are just unhealthy or toxic together, but there's no real like visible damage, and it's all between you two, that's the heartache and the headaches and maybe the spiritual stress, that's not good. But it's not, I do not think that it warrants this person going to that length to cutting you out like that. Like, there's a way to communicate, listen, I love you and I respect you, but as we are now, it's not working out. and and also just saying, hey, I'm not in love with you anymore, or I don't think that we should try to be best friends anymore. um, and there's this other person, excuse me, that uh, after workout protein burp, protein shake burp, sorry. um, Here's this other person that I am attracted to and I want to get to know, or I feel like we get along better, or if it's a business partnership, I think this is going to be better for me overall and like my family and whatever, right? They should be honest and transparent. And when they do that to you, when they try to hide the truth and then cut you out of your life, abandon you, friend, I'm sorry, but this person is not being a good person. They're being a POS. And deep down, they may be a good person, and they may treat other people well, but they're not treating you well. And that's what you have to pay attention to. So that's the first thing, right? If that does happen, I'm not saying don't feel hurt, you have to process it, and it's going to probably take months. A lot of, I would say, experts, in the mental health field will say that, especially as an adult, right? Abandonment issue, like if you feel like you were screwed over in a really profound connection, they try to rewrite the history when they broke up with you. Like, we were never in love, or we were never really like that close, or, committed, and then just cut you out of their life. Like, that's pretty devastating. So it's going to take probably 6, 9, 12 months at the very least to work through that. Anybody that feels like they're presenting like, oh, I just moved on like that, probably the person who did that to you, because they're an avoidant attachment style person, that person's they are shoving it down, repressing all that stuff, and it's going to be ugly later on. Let them let them just go do it. All right, that is their choice. They've chosen the POS path. Let them go do it. Okay, wish them the best and pray for them, but you need to focus on yourself now. And if you feel devastated by that loss and that abandonment, just know it's probably going to take a while, and it's going to be up and down. That's normal. But this leads to the bigger thing that I'm hinting at here. You will need to learn how to detach from that person. Now, I'm not talking about what the avoidant style usually does, which is like pretend like, oh, like, make up what I call delusional denial. It's denial like to the power of 5, right? It's like they have to not just deny the actual truth, the hard truths, but they have to fabricate. Their mind is fragile, that they have to fabricate all these lies or these truths in their mind, which are false, in order to feel empowered and move on. Like, everything's fine, everything's okay, right? That is delusional denial. What I call it is like they are having to fabricate stuff to rewrite the truth, or to really deny its very existence, because they can't handle it. Now, I'm not talking about that kind of detachment. That is just, like I said, a whole other bag of problems. Do not do that. Face the issues that you have with this. Process it. Remember, introspect, reflect, process, digest. Get in touch with your intuition. That's your spirit, right? And that's the connection to God or whatever you feel is greater than yourself. And you have to learn how to just recognize when those feelings come up, like unworthiness or like, oh, they screwed me over, like anger, bitterness, resentment. Um, you know, recognize it, acknowledge it. Yeah, all right. I hear you, buddy. All right, I feel you. But you have to recognize, remember the reality of who this person is and what's happening, and then realize you don't need them. You didn't need that relationship. And now that they've shown their true colors, right, or how they're choosing to be, why would you want that in your life? And why do you want to be weighed down, by all this heartache and headache? Like, why do you want to be the only one that's holding on, waiting for closure? And this, I made a post, about Cobra Kai and Johnny's breakdown. And I said, yeah, closure would be nice, right? Reconciliation, even if it just means like you get the closure, you wish each other the best, and you go your separate ways. All that would be fine and dandy. But most of the time in this world, you're not going to get it. You're not. Especially if a person like that is choosing to be a POS and discard you, treat you like garbage, and choose something better than you, you're not going to get it. Not until they wake up into their higher self. So have some respect and some self-love for yourself and realize, and don't be attached to all the nostalgia either, because that sucks people back in sometimes. Sorry, I felt like I had like a bug on me. That will suck you back in along with like the resentment and bitterness. So recognize what's happening and then go deeper, right? Why am I feeling like this again? Like, why am I feeling like this abandonment and this heartache and this bitterness? And most of the time it will be like you're still dependent and attached to that person or someone else or something else, giving you that worth, giving you that self-love, that respect that you crave, but it's all within, right? So learn how to slowly detach from that, and especially that person. If they come back into your life and want to reconcile, again, I've said this before, you have to pay attention to all the red flags and the orange flags even. And you have to have firm boundaries. All right. They really also need to be showing that they are in their higher self. They really do. They really, really do. Okay. And you'll know, your intuition will tell you if they've done the work. All right. Now, I just want to touch really quickly on children. This is really hard. When children are abandoned, that sets up this blueprint for people, and it's really hard to rewrite, but it can be done. It can be done. All right. But it needs to, like, if you're working with kids and they have abandonment issues, you have to work on, some people don't like this word or terminology, but reprogramming. You have to help them reprogram their blueprint in their minds about relationships, interconnections, and attachment and detachment. You really do. So there's healthy attachment, but then with that healthy attachment comes healthy detachment, right? And then telling them, like, listen, your parent or this adult that abandoned you, whatever, is a POS, but they have issues. Maybe one day they'll heal and they'll come back into your life, and it's up to you if you want them back in your life. But there are other people that do care about you. And this is what a healthy relationship looks like. This is what healthy parting of ways, breaking up, leaving a connection looks like, right? And it's you can't just coddle the child and dote on them and say, oh, I'll never do that. They have to be prepared again with loss. Like, life is, a lot of it is like learning how to deal with loss. So we need to prepare them for that. But it really sucks that it happens to kids. It really does, because they're still developing. Their, I mean, their totality is still developing. So it's so sad to see children like struggle with abandonment. It really is. It's heartbreaking. But then realizing, detaching yourself from that, because that gets you stuck in your ego, and maybe, the issues of transference and countertransference, and then, yeah, like muddying the waters in your relationship to that child. So you have to step back and then say, okay, well, we need to get to work on helping this kid build up resiliency, learn what healthy relationships, healthy communication looks like, healthy detachment, attachment, and start rebuilding, that blueprint for them. So I'll leave it at that for right now. But I just wanted to touch on that today, because I saw someone like shared a video, and I wanted to post that, and it really spoke to me. I think a lot of people have abandonment issues. Um, so it's something it's not an easy fix, but learning how to have healthy attachment and then healthy detachment will help you along the way. I wish you all the best, as always, on your journeys. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you like it, thumbs up, share it, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, like, what's maybe a healthy way of moving past abandonment in your eyes. And yeah, also you might be wondering, like, why are you walking around a parking lot? There's like an active construction site behind me and all that. Well, the gym is right over there, right there. And I just got done with my workout, but I'm not gonna tell you too much or anything, but I got some irons in the fire. Some hopefully good things are coming through, and this might be a site that I'm at quite a bit. So stay tuned. Again, blessings to you all. Take care.